Hi there, I'm Sarah from Great Days by Sarah, and today I'm taking us through a yoga flow specifically made for runners. Now, you don't have to be a runner to benefit from this, but we hit on a lot of key areas that are usually tight or limiting for runners. So thanks for joining me. We're going to meet in child's pose. In your space, let's set our knees nice and wide. If you have a yoga mat, aim your knees to be on the edge of the yoga mat. Big toes to touch, sink your hips back, and just see where you are. If you can sit with your feet, the tops of your feet on the mat, that's how they'll be. If that is not happening for you today, tuck them under and then sit back on your heels and then lay forward. So as always, I'll encourage you to do what feels right in your body. As we start to move and we start to breathe, your goal for this practice today is to do what feels good, but still feel the stretch. So you want to be able to move through the postures and hit your edge, but you should not feel pain. Yes, you should feel a stretch, but you should not feel an ache. Start to find your breathing in child's pose. We're going to connect with this Ujjayi breath today, in through your nose, out through your nose, constricting the back of your throat to make this ocean-like sound. And it's not super loud, but if someone was next to you, they could hear you doing it. It allows us to bring our focus internal and to really connect our breath to the area of the body we want it to go. Rock slowly up, just enough to send your right leg out to the side. So send your right leg out to the side, your left leg stays the same. Begin to rock back and forth, really plant the outside of this right leg, this right foot on the mat or your rug, your space that you're in. And then play with how far you can go. Maybe you can come back to 45 degrees, still feels okay. Maybe you can sit back into this awkward child's pose, still grounding down the edge of your big toe on your space. If you realize you've gone too far, just reverse it. From here, we'll come right back up. We'll come all the way up to be on our knee. We're gonna find a gate pose. So arms come up. Reaching towards this leg, this straight leg that's out, over to the side. Stay where you are. I'm going to adjust my body so you can see what it looks like. The lean, all the way over. And then we'll reverse it. Up through this warrior two arms, really straight and strong. Don't let your arms be here, extend them. And then reach it up and over all the way the other way. So there's a long, strong line from your wrist to your foot. Then we're gonna flow back and forth with this. We'll inhale up through the nose, exhale out through the nose. Inhale, center, exhale, fold. Last one, inhale, center, exhale, fold. And last one, all the way out to here. Now stay here, or to add a little more hip strength, lift that leg up. You'll immediately feel that outside of your hip turn on, especially if you run. Because when you're running, you're just going forward and backwards. You're not going side to side or laterally. Keep it there or lift and lower. Keeping your chest open. Arm is engaged. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. We'll come back up to center, back to hands and knees, and send the other leg out. So ground down through your other foot, and then once again, start with a sway. Rock it back and forth. Find your edge where you feel that stretch. Treat every side as an individual. Just because you were able to sit back on the first side doesn't make it okay on the second side. But if you'd like it, set it back, but grounding down this edge of your foot. No matter where you are, still connecting with your breath. come back up, hands and knees, and then all the way up to our gate pose. Arms come out. We're gonna reach towards our straight leg first, up and over the top with extension through your obliques. Inhale, center. Exhale towards the bent leg. Longer extension from your wrist down to your ankle. Going with your breath. Last one towards your straight leg. And out towards the bent. Setting up, finding that base, strong ground through this bottom hand. Lift that leg up if you're going there. And breathe and squeeze. Make sure it's not arching behind you. That was an exaggeration, but keep it at hip height, engaging through those lower abdominals. And stay here or lift and lower. Breathe. Long straight line from your bottom hand to your top arm. So arms are still active. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. Set it down. Find your tabletop and reach your left arm up and thread it through. Thread the needle. It goes all the way through. Right arm can stay as a kickstand, or if you want a little bit more opening through the back, reach this hand up and around the top to find a half bind. A lot of times as runners, we neglect our upper body, and you don't realize that you do need to stretch your upper body too. It's holding you in place as you log all those miles. If you have the half bind, release it, use it to press back up, back to table, other side. Arm reaches up, thread the needle underneath. Find the stretch that works for you. Maybe your ear's on the ground, maybe it's on a pillow. And then try what you did on the other side, but if it doesn't feel good, just reverse it. If the bind doesn't work, bring it back to the kickstand. And we'll all meet back up in tabletop, and then tuck your toes under and set it up for our first downward facing dog. I'm gonna switch back to the side so you can see my upside down letter V with my body. And once we get here, straighten one leg, bend one leg, stretching out that ball of your foot, the arch, and your calf and hamstring on the straight leg. And then switch. Your heel does not need to touch the floor ever in a downward facing dog, and your knees don't have to go completely straight. If you have tight hamstrings, they'll need to stay bent. Now with motion, pedal it out. Find anything that is a sticky spot, and then we'll find stillness in our downward facing dog. Tail towards the sky, head is hanging heavy. Shake it yes, shake it no. If you were to have a long ponytail, it would be draped towards the floor. And then we're going to crisscross our feet all the way up to the top of our space. So your left goes all the way to the right. Your right goes all the way to the left. Opening up through your IT band on the side of your leg. And we'll find ourselves in ragdoll. Feet really wide, knees very bent. Upper body draping over. Maybe reaching for opposite elbows or hands lightly on the floor, on your shins, or maybe even on your thighs. And then we'll release your hands, toe those toes together, big toes touch, heels are apart. We'll roll up one vertebrae at a time till we get to the top. You're at the top of your space. We're going to take it through 3 sun salutations A. Get our blood flowing before we work on another stretch. Inhale, arms come up. Gaze towards your thumbs. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, back is flat. Exhale, plant your hands, step your right foot back, your left foot back. Take it through a chaturanga, so our elbows bend just to 90. Inhale, upward facing dog. If you're like, what is this lady talking about? Just meet us back in downward facing dog. So that's what I'll refer to as your flow. We'll go through one more time. I'll show you a variation. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, all the way down. Inhale, cobra. Just the upper body lifts. Exhale, downward facing dog. So you can use your knees, your hands, and send it right back. Those are, of course, optional. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, you can hop, you can step, you can take the world's tiniest steps back up to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise. Press through all four corners of your feet all the way to the top. This time we add the back bend, opening up through your shoulders and your chest. Inhale, tall. Exhale, refold. Inhale, lengthen, long spine. Exhale, hands plant down. Left leg steps back. Right leg steps back. Your flow, your option, or just downward facing dog. We're gonna go through one more time, your own pace. So we'll all meet at the top of the mat. I'll show you what the jump looks like on my end. If you'd like to try it, we land with bent elbows. Bring it all the way up. Right back down. Inhale, halfway lift. My exhale brings me down. I hop back, bent elbows to shine through. Back to downward facing dog. We inhale, our right leg comes high. Hips stay square towards the mat. And then we step it through towards a low lunge. So one hand on one side, one hand on the other. If this is too much, drop the back knee. Breathing here. And now if you are lifted, drop the back knee anyways, untuck the back toe. We're moving into a half split. Send your hips back. Big hamstring opener. Usually a challenging one for runners. If you need a bend in your knee, take a bend in your knee. Toes towards the sky, right hip's pulling back, left hip pushing forward. We're gonna hold the first one, then we're gonna flow. Inhale, forward, lunge. Exhale, back, half split. Inhale, forward lunge. I'll show you if you can't touch the floor. Exhale, back, half split. Last time, forward lunge. Exhale, back, half split. This time, hands come in the middle. We find lizard. Different hip opener here. My back knee, I like my back knee down on this one if I'm going for the stretch. If you want a little more work, a little more strength, of course, pop that back knee off the ground. You'll feel a bigger stretch through your back hip flexor. But for today, I like my hands down, my knee down. If you'd like to walk it down into your forearms, if you have that flexibility, walk it down into your forearms. But we're squeezing our right leg towards our right tricep for now. Then we'll modify it. Start to turn your right foot out at an angle, pressing this right knee away from you and staying here. But if you want a little bit more, bend through that back leg, reaching your right arm up and around, reach for your foot. Even if you can't get it, your shoulder's getting the opening, your chest is getting the opening, and your quad is also getting the opening. But if you can reach for it, give it a slight pull, very gently, and move your heel towards your hip. Maybe your gaze is behind you, feeling a slight stretch through your neck. Let it go gently and reverse it. Your choice. Take it back through plank, through a flow, or meet us in downward facing dog for the other side. Once you're in downward facing dog, we'll inhale, our left leg comes high. Exhale, step it through. We find our lunge first, so one hand on the outside, one hand on the inside. Back leg can stay powerful or it can drop to focus on the stretch. Just like the other side, we pause for these first two and then we'll flow. Transitioning back to half split. This is by far my tight side. I'm actually dealing with an injury on my left leg, so I'm going to be very high up in the air. But our half split, toe towards the sky, leg can be straight or bent, pulling your left hip back, right hip comes forward, feeling a stretch to your hamstring. I'm dealing with some sciatic nerve issues, so I'm not going to push it today. I'm going to stay pretty high. And then we'll inhale forward, exhale back. You'll notice my hand on the wall for extra stability. This can be on a couch, on an ottoman. Inhale forward. Like I always say in the beginning of every video that I do, listen to your body. My body is telling me today I cannot push it. So I'm going to modify as much as I need to. This last time going forward, hands come to the center, foot inches towards the edge of your mat if you're using one, finding lizard, either really active with the upper leg, your back leg, or drop the knee and relax it. Maybe even walk it down onto a block, a blanket, a pillow if you want a little bit of a deeper stretch. But for this first part, hugging this left leg towards the left arm. And now we'll add the modification. Turn the left foot out 45 degrees, pressing the knee away from you. You'll see this from the opposite side this time. Twisting your body towards the bent leg, and then adding the option for the back leg coming up, driving your heel towards your glute for a really deep quad stretch. Once again, we want it to feel good. It should be a good stretch, not on the edge of pain. Let go of that leg gently, plant both hands. Last chance for chaturanga. Fire up through your upper body, shine forward, upward facing dog, and then exhale back, downward facing dog. As soon as you're in down dog, drop those knees, send your hips back, return to child's pose as we started today, and notice the difference. Maybe you notice a difference in your hips, through your lower back, maybe even through your arms, that you feel that you can reach stronger and straighter. Or maybe your forehead's closer to the mat this time. We'll pass through tabletop, but only for a moment, to flip it over onto our backs. Extending your right leg out, hugging your left knee in. Hugging it straight towards your chest to start. And then opening it up to the side, but keeping your right shoulder grounded. Keeping your leg nice and high, we pass through the center, over to the other side, and drop it in for a spinal twist. I'm going to shimmy just so I don't go fully off camera with my long body. Aiming to keep your left shoulder on the ground. You can look towards the left as your left leg crosses over to the right. And challenge yourself here. Stay with that Ujjayi breath. Obviously much harder to take a deep breath as we're twisted. But a lot of detox can happen in this posture. And as we run, those toxins build up. That lactic acid gets stuck. That's why stretching in yoga is critical to include in your training. Whether you're training for, 5K, 10K, marathons, ultras, life in general, stretching is huge. Bring it back up to the center and switch it out. Right leg hugs in, left leg goes long. First, start it straight in, so straight towards your chest. And then open it up to the side, keeping that left hip down, left shoulder down, so it's just the leg that's doing the movement. And then all the way through, over to the left side. Right shoulder stays grounded, even if your knee doesn't touch. I think there's a big misconception, like our knee has to touch the floor, but it's better to keep your shoulder grounded and let your body go as far as it wants to go on the twist. Maybe it's not ready to drop to the floor. If you have the space, you can extend this arm out and look towards your thumb. Bring it back to center. Give yourself one final squeeze. Bring your forehead up towards your knees. Maybe they even make a connection. And then send it long and don't stop the video. Shavasana. Let your body soak it all in. Let yourself get the mental benefits of what you just did. It's just a few breaths. Relax your body. Relax your mind and just be. Wiggle your fingers, circle your ankles, roll onto your favorite side, keeping your eyes closed if it works for you, and then pressing yourself ever so slowly up to a comfortable seat. With your eyes closed or open, arms come down, around and up, meeting at the top. Hands come to heart center. As always, we thank ourselves for showing up. Bring your thumbs to your third eye, the space in between your eyebrows, our awesome side of intuition. And the light in me honors and bows to the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thanks for showing up and joining me for that one. My body feels so much better. I hope yours does too. I'll see you next week.